Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream and daily Chelsea transfer update. It's not even been 24 hours since the season finished, and already there is plenty of news coming out surrounding the club. Chelsea have reportedly spoken to representatives of Ruben Amorim and Ipswich Town's Kieran Mckenna, as Mauricio Pochettino's future is still unresolved. We've got the latest on a criminal valuation of Trevoh Chalobah, the club valuing him at just £25 million. When will we learn? When will we learn? Going to dive into that. We've got the latest on Roberto De Zerbi, David Ornstein saying, it's highly unlikely that Chelsea would make a move for the Italian. Rio Ferdinand's been speaking on his channel, claiming that he's not sure Pochettino is going to be there next season from what he's been hearing. Don't know how true that is or not. And obviously, the season review is going to be coming up this week, potentially. And there's crucial days ahead for Pochettino in regards to his future. And the review is going to seek to determine whether it was the quality of the signings or Poch's tactics that made them such an attacking force this season. And they will also assess whether the head coach has improved his players. Loads to get into. Crazy after not even 24 hours of the season ending. Suddenly, bang, 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 bang. News, briefings, links with other managers. What is going on, eh? It's never a dull day. Never a dull day. Imagine not supporting Chelsea. Imagine not supporting Chelsea. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, guys, big up to everyone that's locked in already. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button, get these likes up, guys. It really helps boost the content in the algorithm, gets more eyes on the channel. Please smash the like button and please hit the subscribe button as well, people. Racing towards 10,000 subscribers now. Every new subscriber really helps. So please, let's get these subscribers up. If you're tuned in now, you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and smash the likes, guys. So let's dive into the show. Then let's say hello to a few people. Mckenna for me. Ruben Amorim would be my choice if Pochettino goes. Well, he'd probably be one of the only choices left, to be honest. Yep, he is. I don't trust the sporting directors. No, I wouldn't either. Mistake. I hope Poch not sacked or Gallagher. If not, Poch and Gallagher not staying. The fans. I mean, there's not really much that can be done, to be honest. Link with Kieran Mckenna. Have we not learned from the Potter appointment? Imagine what Cole Palmer must be thinking, seeing that after the season he's had under Poch. Very worrying. It is concerning. No denying it. It is very, very concerning. Amorim and Gyökeres with him. Maybe. Although I kind of feel we've kind of left it too late. To be perfectly honest, I think we've left it too late. In terms of bringing a new manager in. Amorim. Not convinced on him, to be perfectly honest. I think he's good, but right now there's no options out there that are better than Pochettino. That's the reality of the situation. We've missed out on targets. If you were going to replace the manager, you should have been much more proactive about it and got it done early on. But the reality is that has not happened. That has not happened. Chelsea is known for strong defence. Poch won't win anything because he is not tight in defence. But it's not. But again, context is key here. Over 14 teams in the Premier League conceded more than 60 goals this season. That's not excusing what we did, but people are making it out like as if we were some sort of outlier with the amount of goals we conceded. 14 teams conceded more than 60 goals this season. I mean, defensively across the board, has not been good in the Premier League. So look, whilst it's poor from a Chelsea perspective, let's not pretend that this is like sort of a one-off and Chelsea kind of in trouble, as it were, defensively. Look, we need to improve defensively for sure, but across the league, the defenses have been poor this season. Absolutely, I agree on that. Let's dive into this, people. Let's dive into it. A story that come out from the Press Association, stating that Ruben Amorim and Kieran Mckenna are both waiting in the wings in case Chelsea opts to make a managerial change this week. Chelsea are thought to have sounded out representatives of both Amorim and Mckenna in recent weeks. Chelsea chiefs are understood to have been impressed by Mckenna's approach. He's led Ipswich to successive promotions from League One to the Premier League. I mean, yeah, okay, that's great. But does that suddenly qualify you to go into one of the biggest jobs in in world football into one of the biggest jobs in the Premier League when you've never even managed in the Premier League? Does that suddenly qualifies you to get there? I mean, I just massively worry from a Chelsea perspective that if they do decide to remove Pochettino, the managerial shortlist is going to be criminal. It's going to be like Thomas Frank. It's going to be Kieran McKenna. It's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if Gary O'Neill rocks up on it or something. I mean, let's remember, guys, the shortlist we had last summer, by the way, was Ange Postecoglou, Mauricio Pochettino, and Vincent Kompany. That was the shortlist last season for the job. The shortlist this time round is not going to be as good as that. You know, you'd probably say Amorim, McKenna, Thomas Frank, and then I can't really think who else. But it is a genuine concern. It is absolutely a genuine concern. Can't trust these directors to get anything right. You know, when they do things right in terms of Palmer, Gusto, etc., and whatnot, they then find a way to undo it all by sort of coming up with things like this. That is a big issue. Look, for me, Ruben Amorim, is he a bad manager? No, he's not. He's on a few Portuguese league titles. Great. You know, no, he's not a mini Mourinho that people seem to like to dub him. You know, he's his own manager. He's 39. He's young. He's still relatively inexperienced. The Sporting haven't done particularly well in Europe. Yes, domestically to beat the likes of Porto and Benfica to the title, given, you know, they hadn't won a title for 20 years until he first won it a few years back. You know, he's done well in Portugal, but let's not pretend that this guy is gonna be some sort of savior, because he absolutely isn't, guys. Anyone that comes in is not going to be a savior, and I can guarantee anyone that comes in, he's not going to do any better in the first season than what Pochettino's just done. They simply aren't. You know, we need some continuity. We need some stability, and it would just be stupid, wouldn't it? You know, what is the point of building a squad that was randomly assembled, to put it lightly, to then get Poch to come in and try and fix it and turn it around into something manageable, and then sack him when he's in the fucking process of doing that? You know, we're not in a position yet where we're going to challenge immediately. We still need to go through the stage of sorting the balance and the direction of the squad out, and not many are better than doing that than Poch. Why would you sack him now he's starting to, you know, show the fruits of his labour? Why would you do that? Why? You know, it's tiresome talking about managers every single summer, spending the vast majority of the season talking about managers. It is boring. It's tiresome. And yeah, I've had enough of it. But he's not. How has he failed this season? You know, the target set at the start was top 4, which was totally unrealistic. As things have panned out, maybe we could have actually nicked it in the end with a few better results here and there. But at the end of the day, I would say it's far less of a gamble than ripping it all up and starting again. Plus, you know, the players clearly love playing for him. I've never seen so many players coming out praising a manager as this group are with Pochettino. You know, and I don't think he's failed this season at all. We're back in Europe. We've got to Wembley twice. Yes, we didn't get into the Champions League, but we've had a ridiculous injury crisis. There have been legit circumstances as to why things have gone the way they've gone this season. And I think in the second half of the season, you know, we've been a top 4 side. You know, based on the last 28 matches, I know a season's 38 games. Based on the last 28 matches, you take the first 10 games out, where we won 3 of the first 10. We have been a top 4 side. So the first 10 games has cost us the 10. No, this is where you're just blinded by your agenda. You know, it's not 5 games. We have been the 4th best team in the league for the last 28 games. Since Boxing Day, we've been the 4th best team in the league. And you're trying to tell me that we've improved. We've only improved in the last 5 games. It's utter rubbish. It's utter rubbish. I get it. You don't think the manager's that great, but don't make stuff up and say it's the last 5 games we've improved, and we absolutely haven't. And then it's always, oh, if so and so hadn't dropped off, it doesn't matter. They dropped off. We kept doing what we needed to do, and those teams dropped off. That's not our problem. Why are you discrediting what we've done, and putting it down to other teams dropping off rather than us playing well? Yeah, there have been some poor results along the way. Of course there have. But to suggest that the improvement is the last 5 games is utter rubbish. I'm sorry, it's utter rubbish. Yeah, we could have got fourth, despite, how many people have moaned about the season, myself included at times. We could have got fourth place. We could have got fourth place. Yeah, I'm going to dive into this. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hopefully we sort out the injury problem next season. Yeah, we need to. What else have we got? Yeah, look, I'm not jumping around celebrating 6th place, but you want an improvement season on season. That's what you want. That's what you want, an improvement season on season. We're 19 points better off this season than we were last season. We points differential from last season to this season. No one's got more points. We 19 points more from last season to this season. That is a league high. Okay, yes, there's been poor results along the way. Yes, we've not done well along the way. But the reality is, if people cannot see that there is progress being made, then I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say if people cannot see that there is progress, that there's progress being made. If this was another manager in charge that people liked and it was like a bit of a hipster, cool, up and coming name, if Amorim had done what Pochettino had done this season in these same circumstances, everybody would be raving about him. But because it's Poch and he's ex-Spurs and there's been some difficult results along the way, apparently he's not good enough. It's rubbish. There's this constant shiny object syndrome. We need. It's constantly. We need next. Let's just keep hiring and firing managers until we find one that can get top 4 in the first season. It's just ridiculous. Not only is it ridiculous, it is totally and utterly financially unviable and unsustainable to constantly pay off managers every 18 months 10 million plus because we're impatient and the fan base cry and throw their toys out the pram when we have the first difficult run of games. I'm sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. How do people forget we finished 12th last season? Yeah, this is it. We finished 12th last season, and then people think it's realistic to go from 12th with the mess we were in, and then we're going to go straight to top 4. It's just totally unrealistic. As it panned out, we could have potentially done that, which would have been a remarkable achievement. But look, we're back in Europe next season, which was the bare minimum. We did that, and considering we were 10 or 11 points behind Newcastle with 10 or so games to go, the turnaround that has been quite something. No, you can't. And people seem to fundamentally misunderstand how long it takes to build a team. I'm not saying that Pochettino's been perfect, particularly in the first half of the season, not good. Getting a lot of things wrong, team selection, substitutions, lack of in-game management and whatnot, showing no adaptability and willingness to change. Since the turn of the year, he's shown all those things, and our form has markedly improved, and we've been the best of the rest after City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. We've been better than Aston Villa for 3 quarters of the season. The first 10 games cost us the top 4 this season. That's the reality here, guys. And we're sitting here talking about a season where we've had some dreadful results, and it's been really difficult, and yet we've only finished 5 or 6 points off the top 4. And we can all easily find games where those points could have been found. That's the reality where we're at, guys. This whole give him time, give him a whole season, and now that it doesn't make sense. You gave him time, he took it, and he is improving. Exactly, we're improving. I love Amorim. What's questioning the move is the fee Liverpool broke talks because of price. And again, managers are now commanding fees as well. There's going to be, it's going to be tricky. And again, Amorim's a massive gamble in my view. A massive gamble. Yes, up and coming, exciting. He's far less experienced than Pochettino is, and yet people think the answer to to our problems is to remove a manager that the players like and have built a good relationship so far and is building the foundations of hopefully some success next season, is to rip it all up and put in an even less experienced manager into the mix to deal with a whole load of inexperienced players. I'm so lost. I'm so lost behind the logic and the thinking of some of the fans. I'm so lost behind the logic and the thinking of the ownership, of the directors. I just don't understand any of this. Yeah, mate, everyone wants top four next season, and it has to be top four next season. If it's not top four next season, then I can sit here, hold my hands up and say, do you know what? He's underachieved, and it would be time for a change. The top four is the bare minimum next season. That is the bare minimum required. Yes, big up, brother. Out of the 5 centre backs we have this season, rank them from best to worst. I'll probably say I'll probably go Chalobah, Silva, Disasi, Colwell, Badiashile. I know Colwell's been decent. There's not much in it, to be honest. There's not been much in it. That there aren't. This is another thing. There are no upgrades out there, people. 0 upgrades available. You know, if there was a clear and obvious candidate that would take us to the next level, for example, when we were in the Frank Lampard situation, you know, and Thomas Tuchel was available, then of course you go and do it. There is no clear upgrade available out there that is going to make a massive difference to Chelsea. You know, every single manager would be a huge gamble. That's the reality. Everyone is going to be a huge gamble, people. That's just how it is. We've got a striker last time. I think we've got a 4th. Yep. Yeah. Look, there's been loads of games. We absolutely could. I mean, there's so much stuff coming in. I'll try and get through as much as I can. You can't be using the inexperience excuse next year. No, we're not. No. And Pochettino himself has said he doesn't want to talk about inexperience. He doesn't want to talk about injuries next season. And we don't want to be doing that either. You know, we don't want to be doing that either. Conte never in a million years is going to come back to Chelsea, particularly under this ownership and particularly with the squad the way it is. I couldn't think of 2 worse fits for Chelsea and its current guys than Conte and Mourinho. Could have been top 4, right? So, mate, honestly, I just don't understand this logic. The fact that we've gone from 12th to 6th, right, and we've been to Wembley twice. You know, like the expectations, I think, are unrealistic with the reality of the situation right now. Yes, we all wanted to get back into the top 4, but that wasn't deemed as realistic. It wasn't deemed as realistic for me. Maybe less experienced, but he's far more accomplished than Poch. 3-time Portuguese champ, 7 Portuguese cups, and he improved. How has he improved Sport Benfica and Braga? I mean, was Amorim at Benfica? I mean, I'm not aware of his. I'm not aware of his career path, but I don't think he's more accomplished than Poch, to be perfectly honest. You know, yeah, okay, he might have a few more trophies in terms of what he's won in Portugal, but you know, he's got no big club experience, no experience of managing a big dressing room and managing big players and whatnot. You know, it's a massive gamble. It's a huge gamble. And he himself has already said that he doesn't want to, that he wants to stay at Sporting Lisbon. And for me, you know, if he's as good as what people are saying, why didn't Liverpool go for him? And don't tell me it's just because of the money they would have had to have paid. They're paying over 10 mil for Slot. If Liverpool wanted this guy and they were convinced he was the right guy, they would have paid the money. So Liverpool have seen something that is not right in Amorim for them. Okay. Does that mean that he can't eat? Does that mean that he's not right for Chelsea? I'm not saying that. But Liverpool have obviously noticed something that means he's not quite right. And I'll tell you what, I trust their decision makers a hell of a lot more than I trust ours. A hell of a lot more than I trust ours. Guys, loads of stuff coming in. By the way, 109 people in the building. Big up every single one of you that's locked in here. Make sure you smash that like button. Let's get these likes up, guys. If you're not smashing the likes, and I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're playing at. 112 in the building, only 47 likes. Let's get this up to 100 likes as quickly as possible, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. I'm not asking for money, people. Just hit the thumb button and subscribe to the channel if you are new round here as well. Racing towards 10,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys, and help me on my way. It'll be greatly appreciated. You know, you people are great. We're really building here. But let's get back to the show. Yeah, he did say he was staying. He did. Look, he's got a good CV in terms of trophies in sporting, and he's improved the team, and they've played some good stuff. His record in Europe is not particularly good. Look, do we want to? Are we saying that we want to go back and play a back three again? Do we really want to go and play a back three again? I don't know if that suits us best. It means that it doesn't. I don't know how well that suits us, to be perfectly honest. There we go. It's confirmed. Breaking news. Mourinho's returning to Chelsea with JT as the assistant. Big up to Jose in the chat. Obviously got some. I wouldn't go that far. What else is going on? This is the result of all our success on the Roman hire, win and fire. Fans from the modern era don't understand that sometimes you have to suffer to move forward. No, they don't. And that's the problem with the social media generation of fans. I'm obviously I probably am part of it. But that's the problem with the social media generation of fans. It really is the problem with the social media generation of fans is that there's no patience, there's no understanding of how football works. They'll see other clubs have success and think, well, why hasn't that happened at Chelsea without applying any context to the situation? People love to say stuff and then apply absolutely zero context to it as well, which is frustrating. There's a lot of people that just don't understand it. And people can defend their opinion. People are entitled to their own opinions, but anyone that legitimately thinks it's a good idea to sack Pochettino is got it totally wrong, in my view. Absolutely got it totally wrong. And the standards argument is bollocks. I hate the standards argument because no one's accepting where we're at. But there has to be a willingness to accept that this is not Roman's Chelsea. This is a different Chelsea. Everything's been ripped up from top to bottom in the last 2 years, and people are expecting the same level of success instantly. That's not how it works. The standards are always the standards at Chelsea. No one's lowering the standards, but there has to be an acceptance that, it is going to take some time to get back there. And there has to be an acceptance that despite all the circumstances, this has been a good season. We've gone from 12th to the top 6. We've been to Wembley twice. We were do you not remember how shit it was? How shit it was last season? 12th. Shocking. Losing every week. Players didn't want to be here. No one was giving a shit about playing for the club. Now, we're back in Europe. We've been to Wembley twice. We've got a group of players that all want to be at this football club. There's a massive sense of togetherness in the squad, and Pochettino deserves credit for building that. And yet there's people that want to tear it all down and start again. I just don't get it. I really don't get it, guys. That's just my opinion. But that's just playing hindsight at the end of the season. Who realistically expected us to come top 4 this season? Because I certainly didn't. I think people were blinded by the business we did in the transfer window. Thinking it would just work straight away. Injury crisis a mile long. Whoever the manager is, if we have injuries the way we had them this season, then it was going to be a huge problem. It was going to be a huge problem for forever it is. If people thought the top 4 was realistic this season, then I think they had unrealistic expectations. I really do. As it turned out, we actually went very close. We actually did go. We actually went very close, but ultimately, we finished where I think the vast majority of Chelsea fans thought we'd finished. I tipped us to finish 5th at the start of the season, and ended up being one space out. It's frustrating. Of course, it's frustrating, but I think all things considered, it's been a decent season. I think it's been a decent season when you take everything into account. And the way we finished the season gives a lot of optimism heading into next season. You can see the way that the team's playing. You can see the players behind the manager. You can see what this team is potentially capable of. I think another season building under Pochettino. I'm not saying that Pochettino is that guy that's going to win us stuff. I think he's going to be the guy that takes us a certain way down the path, and then the next guy comes in and he's going to be the guy that gets us winning on a regular basis. That's how I view it. But I think it's a massive mistake, people, if we do not if we make a no, because I think the expectations were unrealistic at the start of the season, given everything that's happened at the football club, the injuries we've had. Yes, you can point to, we could have done it if we hadn't dropped points here, there, and everywhere. And I get that, but I just think at the start of the season, with the circumstances, it was unrealistic to think that this team would finish in the top 4. As it's transpired, I agree, we probably could have done it, but I don't think we've underachieved this season. The remit was to get back. Obviously, they thought that the Champions League was realistic. I think the ownership's expectations were unrealistic at the start of the season, given the circumstances. I think it's been a good season with everything taken into account. I think it's been a step in the right direction. Are we celebrating 6th place? No, but there has to be a realization. There has to be a realization that we have made progress this season, and we've taken a massive step in the right direction. And you can absolutely see what we're trying to do. It's a good season in the circumstances. If it had just been normal circumstances at Chelsea and we had a winning squad and we came 6th, then absolutely it's not. But in the circumstances, compare the feeling at the club now, at the end of this season, compared to the feeling at the end of last season, and it's night and day. The feeling around the club between now and when last season finished is totally different. Totally different. And the progress that we've made in a year, it has been massive. And people say, how could it have been any worse than last year? Maybe it couldn't have been, but the fact is we've made a significant progression on last season, and we were within touching distance of a trophy, which we should have won. We should have won that. The injuries of it's not a piss poor season, because this is the problem. People don't apply any context. People don't apply context to it. If we'd had no injuries and everyone had been fit, I wouldn't be sitting here saying this has been a good season. No one wants to be finishing in 6th place. There has to be an understanding that where we came from last season, from 12th and moving up to 6th, getting back into Europe and making two trips to Wembley is a good season. I'm not sitting here celebrating 6th place, but I'm understanding that in the circumstances in surrounding the season, we have taken a step in the right direction. No, we're not happy in the grand scheme of things to be 6th, but there has to be an acceptance and a realization that we've taken a step in the right direction, because we've progressed, and that's ultimately what I'm looking for, is the team to progress. I understand that this is not going to be a quick overnight fix. I don't think it has been a poor season. It's not difficult to say that. If I thought it had been a poor season, I'm always honest with my thoughts and opinions on here and with Chelsea. If I thought it had been a poor season with everything taken into consideration, I would say. But I genuinely believe that it's been a decent season given the circumstances and the context surrounding everything that's gone on. That's my honest thoughts on it. We've taken a step in the right direction. But I'll say it right now, and I'll say it all through the summer as well, and I'll say it next season as well, that if we don't finish in the top 4 next season, then he has to go. That's the reality of the situation. Those are the standards now. If he does not finish in the top 4 next season, then he needs to leave. It's as simple as that. And I'll sit here right now, and I'll say that, and I'll say that throughout the season as well. It is top 4 or bust next season. That's the reality. But to pull the trigger now, when we're starting to build something, and you can see the fruits of his work coming together. He's always said, judge me when I've got a fully fit squad. We've pretty much got a fully fit squad, and we're starting to see what we can do. He deserves one more season. Changing the manager now sets us back again. I truly believe that. Changing the manager now sets us back again. No, but what? But it's not going to be. It's not just going to be the same players. They're going to be a year more experienced. We're going to add players over the summer that we need, and hopefully, we're not going to have an injury crisis. The players is not really the issue here. You know, the issue has been that we've had 12 plus, we've had sort of 8 to 12 injuries all season with key players missing. That's the context here. The players are not good enough. This is a talented squad. You know. And yes, Chelsea's a club that wants to be winning trophies, but there's only 3 trophies that were attainable this season. Well, say 3, 2 basically. The Premier League was not attainable this season. We weren't in Europe, and you know, we should have won the Carabao Cup, and we should have made the FA Cup final if we're being brutally honest. You know, but look, people are going to have their opinions, and I respect everyone's right to an opinion, absolutely, and I'll always be respectful and always, debate with people fairly. I think next season, we have to get this right. You know, we cannot have a situation where we are missing the amount of players we have done this season again next season. That is a number one thing to address over the summer. Forget signing a centre forward. We need to sort out the injury issues here. The injury issues must be sorted out because I don't care who the manager is. If we don't sort out the injury crisis, you could have fucking God with Jesus as his assistant, and it wouldn't make any difference. We have to get to the bottom of the injury crisis. That is the biggest thing. That is the biggest thing. Also, started the season with a new squad full of young and experienced individuals. We now have a team with some experience. Well, there's a bit of experience. 150 in the building. Big up to everyone that's locked in, guys. Appreciate the support as always. Keep smashing that like button. What are we on? 78 likes. Let's get this up to 100 likes and beyond. And keep subscribing to the channel, guys. Every subscriber is a step closer to 10,000. We're about 750 away, roughly, guys. So come on, let's keep doing it. Keep helping me on the road to 10K, guys. We're going to get there very, very soon. Yeah, but you're also forgetting that how much of that 1 billion spent actually played this season. You know, a lot of it was injured, and a lot of it hasn't even come to the club yet, and a lot of it is out on loan as well. So, you know, we can't say, like, if everyone had been fit and been available, fine. You know, that's the reality. But look, spent a lot of time talking about managers. It's an interesting debate. I really don't. If they do make a decision to remove Pochettino, which I think would be ridiculous, then we are in a situation, people, where we are. I don't trust these directors. I dread to think what a potential shortlist would look like. I absolutely dread to think it. And I don't want to be traveling up and down the country next season with, I don't know, with Thomas Frank in charge, no disrespect, or Kieran McKenna, who's never managed in the Premier League. No disrespect to him. No disrespect to him either. You know, right now, for where we're at, this club desperately needs stability. We desperately need stability. You know, that's the reality of the situation. We require stability. And, you know, it would make no sense to just rip it all up and start again just because a few people aren't happy, or do you know what I mean? So let's wait and see what happens. The end of season review, I don't know when it's going to be. Supposedly it's meant to be this week, but you just never know with Chelsea. And let's wait and see what the outcome is. But I strongly agree. I strongly feel that Pochettino will be here next season, but when you start hearing little murmurings and you start these sort of little reports like this come out, and I then start and think, like, maybe he won't be. Like, I didn't get the feeling like he was speaking yesterday after the game of someone that knew that he wasn't going to be here, or someone that, you know, was expecting the worst. I didn't get that feeling. You know, he thanked the fans for their support this season on Instagram this morning. I don't know. I really don't know. I was pretty certain he's going to stay, and I still believe he should stay. But I'm starting to think that. Hang on a second. With stuff that's coming out, maybe he is going to go. I don't know. Is the honest answer. I still feel he'll be here, but I'm a little bit maybe less sure than I was. Oh, what the Mckenna was a hypnosis king. Yeah, that's Ian Mckenna, isn't it? Ian Mckenna. I think he's is that his name? He's a hypnosis geezer. But yeah, I mean, look, let's move on from managers, because we could talk for hours about managers. We could talk for hours and hours on the managerial situation. But let's move on to some transfer news. We're going to first of all we're going to discuss Ian Maatsen. As we know, he's had a very successful. So we were linked with a Brighton manager before we were linked with a manager, a Brighton target before he was even a Brighton target. No, he's not. De Zerbi's not an upgrade. Absolutely not. And Ornstein was saying today that, there are fallings out behind the scenes with De Zerbi and Brighton over transfer policy. We're basically Brighton on steroids. So, how on earth is he going to be a good fit here if he's falling out with Brighton over recruitment policy? He's going to be in for a big shock if he comes here. So yeah, I just don't see that happening. And again, it's been reported that the club have obviously called their interest on De Zerbi. So yeah, it is what it is. I'd be very, very surprised if it ended up being De Zerbi. But let's talk. Let's talk Maatsen. Having a very good season at Dortmund. It's clear that he's going. But apparently Dortmund's preparing an offer for Maatsen. That the price 21.3 million. But Maatsen has a 35 million pound release clause. I don't know why. This is a European club thing. Why do European clubs always go in with cheap offers? There's a release clause there. We're clearly not going to sell for less than the release clause, unless they're planning to make up the rest in add-ons. I don't know, but it just doesn't make sense. Why do they constantly try and undercut us? They constantly try and undercut us. It's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. I just don't get it. But Dortmund consider Ian Maatsen their top priority signing, according to Fabrizio. Talks with Chelsea expected to take place in the next weeks, even if there's a 35 million clause. The only thing worse than letting Ian Maatsen go would be putting the release clause in and then allowing him to leave for less than that release clause. I mean, surely we're not going to be doing that. I mean, there's no way. There is no way. I mean, I just don't know. I just really don't know. But I would be majorly concerned if that was looking like it was going to happen. I would be genuinely concerned. But yeah, look, Maatsen, we know he's going. Dortmund are always going to try and pay less. We know that, as it seems to be as are most clubs that try to do business with Chelsea. They're going to try and pay as little as they can. But I think it has to be release clause or bust. Otherwise, what was the point of putting the release clause in the first place? That release clause obviously put in because that's what Chelsea value the player at. And so, if Dortmund want him, you cough up the money. Otherwise, he's not going anywhere. Simple as that. They must think we are absolutely desperate to make money for FFP. Anything less than the release clause is a shambles. I totally agree. Totally agree on that front. Yeah, we will. And again, this is down to the directors. The directors are the people in charge here. The directors are the people in charge here. Well, I mean, he's not going to Bayern. He's someone that's been discussed recently. And again, I think he's been discussed in terms of the Brighton job. I'm not really. I'm a little bit unconvinced on the company hype. I know he done very well for Burnley in the Championship. He made the shortlist for the Chelsea job last summer. But I look at company and I just sort of think, I think Burnley were really poor this season, really, really poor. And yet, he could be going to Brighton or he could even be going to fucking Bayern Munich. I mean, mad. Talk about falling upwards. But let's move away from the Maatsen stuff. The big one I wanted to discuss today was Trevoh Chalobah. It's not even been a day. It's not even been 24 hours since the end of the season. And we've already had the first Chalobah briefing of the summer dropped. I don't even know if it's officially summertime yet. We're in May. But it's already looking like the first Chalobah briefing of the summer has dropped. It's believed that Chelsea will value Chalobah at around £25 million again and are braced for new bids this summer. That is absolutely criminal. Not only should he not be going anywhere, but £25 million. Are we idiots? I mean, seriously, 25 million. You might as well give him away. 25 mil for Chalobah, the way that he's played. He's 24 years old. He's got 4 years left on his contract. He's versatile, can play centre-back in a back four or back three, can play right-back. Never lets the team down. £25 million, probably for our best centre-back right now, is a fucking disgrace. Absolute disgrace. If you're looking for good PR after not confirming whether the manager is going to stay or not after a positive run at the end of the season, then I'll probably suggest, guys, that doesn't include briefs about selling academy players for a cut price that are central to plans under your current head coach. Just a bit of advice there. That probably isn't the best thing to do. And again, it's utterly bonkers, by the way, that we bought. I'm not shitting on Disasi or Badiashile, by the way, but that we bought Disasi and Badiashile for more than they value Chalobah, who right now is better than both of them. These Chelsea-nomics, that I'm going to call it, make no sense. We didn't need to see the last few weeks to reaffirm that Chalobah is currently our best centre-back. But apparently still, that doesn't seem to be changing the perception that academy graduates can't be deemed to be worth as much as players from abroad. That perception doesn't seem to be changing. And at the end of the day, these decisions have got absolutely zero to do with a player's actual worth or their quality or what's best at creating a good squad. It's about covering up for previous errors and accounting tricks, which might not even save us anyway. The disrespect that Chalobah is receiving this season and has received during his time at Chelsea is incredible. I said it on Chelsea Fan TV after the game yesterday. Chelsea are looking for a centre-back. If Trevoh Chalobah was doing what he's doing now, performance-wise, if he was doing that for a Dortmund or a Monaco or whatever, we'd be looking at signing him, and it would cost you 60, 70, 80 million pounds to sign this sort of centre-back in the current market. It costs us absolutely nothing to keep him here, yet we seem hell-bent on selling him. And not only that, we have got an absolutely criminal valuation. And again, we massively... we haven't lost a game. We haven't lost a Premier League game in which Trevoh Chalobah started this season. He's been brilliant for us. Chalobah's got the highest points per game ratio at Chelsea this season, and he only made his first start in February. East Chelsea gets it. I mean, Tomori was criminally undervalued as well. I think we sold Tomori for 25 million. Which was ridiculous. Again, it's just a chronic undervaluing of academy players on the whole. Chronic undervaluing. You know, it's ridiculous. I don't understand the levels of disrespect that surround Chalobah. It's utterly bonkers. I just don't get it. I just don't get it at all. You know, I don't understand it. It's just a complete and utter joke. And just as you feel like you want to praise the sporting directors for some of the work that they've done, you know, this then, you know, appears, and you're just thinking, how can we praise you for anything when you make decisions like this? You know, he shouldn't be being sold at all. He needs to refuse to go, and he needs to back himself, because a £25 million valuation for him is an absolute insult. Absolute insult. You know, and yeah, that was a value last summer, but they're believed to be sticking by that valuation, which is an absolute insult to the situation. You know, all Trevor's done is given his best for this football club and performed to a top level week in, week out. Never made a fuss. You know, has been a top player for us, and yet this is the way that he's supposedly being treated. If Chalobah was French or Italian or whatever, we wouldn't even be entertaining, wouldn't even be talking about this. Yeah, and again, contract until 2028, as I said, 4 years remaining on his deal. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, look, I'll give the directors praise for Gusto, Palmer, and whatnot. But ultimately, they've got a lot to answer for, and decisions like this aren't going to do them any favors whatsoever. They're going to do them no favors at all. Absolutely no favors at all, guys. Yeah, I mean, stand by for the ones where Gallagher's wage demands were unrealistic and he refused to negotiate with us. Get ready for those ones if he leaves. You know, oh, he wasn't forced out. His demands were unrealistic and we couldn't come to an agreement. That's what's going to come next, by the way. So brace yourselves for that and make sure you don't fall for that bullshit, because we've seen that bullshit before, and that bullshit doesn't wash at all. You know, it's so backwards that Chelsea value Chalobah at £15 million less than what they paid to sign Axel Disasi last summer. I don't understand. It is woefully inadequate. It's an unforgivable asking price. Unforgivable. You know, unforgivable. It's honestly, it's outrageous. You know, we were unbeaten in the Premier League when Chalobah started this season. 10 starts for Chalobah, and we were unbeaten. Thomas Frank to Bayern now. Is that what's that? Is that a Fabrizio thing, or is that just? I mean, look, look how much Bayern are struggling to get a manager, and yeah, I mean, Bayern are finished. By the way, they're in trouble if their shortlist, if they've been rejected so much that their shortlist contains Vincent Kompany and Thomas Frank. They're in serious trouble. Currently in talks with Thomas Frank. They've basically got no one left. They've basically got no one left. Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've got it. They've basically got no one left, so they've got no one to turn to. So they're now considering Kompany and Frank. That's basically us last summer. It's incredible. Thomas Frank, you know. But yeah. What else have we got going on here? Gallagher wants to stay and only asking for modest money. We all know that. We do all know that. Everyone knows that. So stand by for those briefs. Stand by for those briefs. Joe Shields gets the Palmer credit ball account. So for me, they're on thin ice if they bottle it this summer. Yeah, at the end of the day, like, the manager needs to be backed. And that means keeping players that he wants. Chelsea put all their prices up at the ground, but sell Trev for pennies. Yeah, I don't get it. Oh man, I've got absolutely no idea. It depends what business we do in the summer, but yeah, I don't know right now. Absolutely don't know. guys, there's so much stuff coming in. Try to get through as much as I can. But yeah, the Chalobah stuff, it's insulting at the end of the day. It's massively, massively insulting. It really is. And it just really annoys me that like we could do something like this as a football club. You know, every time you think we're turning a corner, then something like this comes out and you think, no, we're just not learning. We're just not learning at all. We're just not learning from our mistakes. How many more times are we going to have top players on our books and then sell them for pennies? I'm lost for words. No, you're supposed to learn from your mistakes. You're not meant to keep making the same mistakes time and time again. Yeah, it looks like we seem to be doing that, and it honestly, it just makes it just drives me mad. It drives me mad that we seem intent on not learning from our mistakes, people. I just can't get on board with it. I can't get on board with it. I just don't understand. You know, there's no respect for Chalobah. No respect. It doesn't make sense. I don't even see the sense in selling him. He's versatile. He can play across the back four, except at left back to a good level. And he's a very important member to have in the squad. And for me, he's more useful to us than Disasi is, because he's better at right back. He defends better. He defends the wide spaces better than Disasi, who is probably more of a box defender. So, to be perfectly honest, like Chalobah's better than Disasi, and yet we're thinking of selling him. I just don't get. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what the thinking is behind this. You know, all because they want to try and cover up for mistakes. You know, they want to build a connection with. You know, they want to get the fans on side. They want good PR around the club. The one thing that you don't do, less than 24 hours after the season's finished, is have briefs coming out that you're prepared to accept £25 million for an academy graduate who's been one of our best players this season and who Pochettino thinks is Chelsea's best defender at this point in time. So, yeah, incredible. Absolutely incredible stuff from the gift that keeps on giving. That is Chelsea. The gift that keeps giving. I really don't know. I really don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about this. We just got to hope it's not true. We just got to hope. We just got to hope it's not true, because at the end of the day, Chelsea without Trevoh Chalobah and Conor Gallagher is going to be a lot worse proposition. Again, Tosin Adrabayo, not any better than Chalobah. And by all accounts, I think he's looks more likely to be looking at joining Newcastle. But again, we've got a top defender on our books, and yet we're trying to sell him, and then we're probably going to spend 50, 60, 70 million pounds on another centre-back who won't be as good as Trev when he first arrives. Another one in his early 20s, or could even be a teenager. And that the whole logic is just so backwards here. The whole logic is so backwards at this football club with all this stuff. It really is. I'm just sick of it, people. I'm just absolutely sick of it. I mean, I don't care if it's another. I don't care who it is, if they're what nationality they are, or any of that bollocks. I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. But honestly, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? I mean, this Chalobah thing is just nuts. Absolute nuts. But yeah, you know what it is. Hopefully, like the fact that Chalobah and Gallagher could have played their last games for the club yesterday is criminal. Absolutely criminal. You know, absolutely criminal. It really is. It really is. I hope Trev stays. Do you know how important it is, by the way, as well, to have players in the squad that get what it means to play for the football club? They've got the DNA of Chelsea in them that understand what Chelsea means. Trev's developed into a bit of a leader as well. He's got those leadership qualities. And now that we've lost Thiago Silva, who was our biggest leader in the dressing room, it's even more important to keep hold of guys that have got the club's DNA in them. And yet we want to get rid of 2 of them who have been crucial players for us this season. It's mad. It's mad. Never a dull day at Chelsea, and never a day seems to go by without some level of shocking decision making in place. It's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. But you know what? It's Chelsea. Expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. Mate, Cucurella, again, another one. He's been absolutely brilliant the second half of the season. Absolutely brilliant, as an excelled since inverting into midfield. Another one that shouldn't be going anywhere. Could you imagine if we'd let him go on loan to United at the start of the season? Could you imagine that? And then Chilwell gets injured, and then we would have played Cole at left back from what, pretty much the whole first half of the season. I mean, he shouldn't be going anywhere. He's a fan favourite. He's a massively popular member of the squad. He's really popular in the dressing room. And he's a bloody good footballer as well. He shouldn't be going anywhere either. We've got good players on our books. Not much needs to be done to this squad. Yes, some players need to leave, but not the players that we're talking about that are being strongly linked with moves away. Those guys are not the ones that should be leaving the club. They are absolutely not. Again, Anthony Robertson is I think is a good left back at Fulham. But again, for me, if we're talking about selling a left back right now, for me, as much as I love Chile, if you had to sell one right now between Chilwell and Cucurella, you're selling Chilwell in my opinion, as things stand right now. I mean, Greenwood will never play in England again. But I mean, the likes of Casemiro, Sancho, United want 50 mil. Casemiro, I think Casemiro goes to Saudi, if I'm being honest, but I will have to wait and see. Sanchez needs to go. I mean, I don't think he will go, but yeah. Correa nearly went to United. He didn't because we played him in a cup game, so Pochettino didn't want him to leave. Yeah, I mean, I doesn't say clear divide, but yeah, he obviously clearly didn't want him to leave. And, it's been proven again to be the correct decision, people. It is proven to be the correct decision to keep him. I mean, look, he's done very well. He's taken from Ipswich from League One to the Premier League in 2 seasons. He's done a good job, but to suggest that he's in the conversation for a Chelsea job is no disrespect, is laughable. I mean, to be honest, I've got no idea how much attention anyone at the club pays to Chelsea fans on YouTube. But if people are watching, or it gets back in any way, then it's important to share your thoughts and feelings on it. And this is a thing that is just utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. That's the reality. Forest fan, but I've been wondering why Pochettino has so much pressure. I know he started the season poorly, but he looked very good for the past few months. Yeah, it's because Chelsea fans are impatient, and if you don't win straight away, they throw their toys out the pram, because under Roman it was hire and fire, but people can't disassociate themselves from the fact that this isn't the Roman era anymore. What else has been going on? Yeah, this is it. Like, it takes time. It does take time to settle. Anyone that arrived last season, we arrived in an absolute mess, and it is going to take a little bit of it is going to take a little bit of time. There's no denying that it is going to take a little bit of time, but you know what? He's showing quality always rises to the top, and he's showing that he's a good player. He's showing he's a good player. Oh, well, yeah, obviously. Of course I would. If you're not going to give him 10 games, you might as well have sacked him last summer. I don't know if he's fallen. I don't know if he's fallen out, but I think there's certainly a few disagreements over recruitment. a few disagreements over recruitment for sure. Rather Trev stay than Connor. I don't know. It's a tough one there. A tough one. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't 100% rule that out. I really wouldn't, depending on what happens. If we replace Poch with another new guy, what does that do for the team? This is what people don't understand. This is what people don't understand. Yeah, but the standards argument is just nonsense because no one's lowered their standards. But there has to be an understanding of the context surrounding the situation the club's in right now, that this team's not ready to win right now. So we're not ready to hit those standards. The Chelsea standards that have been set are unrealistic for where the club are right now. The aspiration is always to get there. It's always to get back to those standards, and the standards will always be the same. But we're not in a position to hit those standards yet, and we're trying to get back to hitting those standards as quickly as possible. And this season has been a positive step in the right direction to get back to those standards that have been set at the club. No one is lowering their standards. Well, I'm certainly not anyway. Yeah, they went out, Bolian. They went out for dinner on Friday. No idea what was discussed. The football is progressing, deserves continuance to December, January. But what do we know? Owners are the ones trying to win the championship. I mean, look, he deserves next season, or certainly certainly deserves the first half of the season, no doubt about it. Yep, standing at the bar of Trev. Do you know what? I wish when I posted that video and it kind of did big numbers and went everywhere. I kind of wish I just asked him, like just sent him a message and asked if he'd seen it. But yeah, I think the moment's probably gone now. For an outsider, I always thought the strikers were the issue, as you had many games at the start of the season where you dominated. I mean, to be fair, like we've scored a lot of goals this season. You know, not many teams have scored more goals than us. Well, guys, there's so much coming. I'll try and get. How do you think our European run will be? I think we'll do. I think we'll do all right. To be fair, I think we'll do all right. I'm not a big fan of Pochettino. Replacing him with Mckenna is ridiculous and backward step. We are ruining everything we built this season. We're ruining everything we built this season if we change the manager anyway. The only way that doesn't ruin it is if you bring in a considerable upgrade, of which there aren't any out there that are realistically attainable for us. Just not in a position to win trophies yet. I wouldn't say we're not in a position to win trophies. I think we've shown that we could have won trophies this season, but you know it takes time to build things. That's the reality, guys. It takes time to build things. Maybe Poch training that make the players injured too. Well, look, again, we had more injuries under Tuchel than we had under Pochettino. So, and where were people questioning Tuchel's methods when we had all those injuries? No one was doing that. So, like for me, only area that's been bad is defence. Yeah, no, we've not been great in defence. But as I was saying earlier, let's contextualise it by putting a caveat in that over 14 out of the 20 teams this season have conceded more than 60 goals. So it's not in isolation that Chelsea have been bad defensively. Across the league, teams defensively have been very poor. That doesn't excuse us for letting in the amount of goals we've let in, but there needs to be context applied to it that a lot of teams have conceded a lot of goals this season. That is absolutely something that we need to tighten up on next season. 100% we need to tighten up on that next season. Guys, 145 in the building. Big up to every single one of you locked in. Keep smashing that like button. We're on 120. Let's try and get this up to 150 likes if we can. Smash the like button and keep subscribing to the channel as well, guys. It'll be greatly appreciated if you can smash that subscribe button. We're on 9,239. Let's try and get to 9,250 if we can, or as close as possible. So if you're locked in now and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, guys. It's greatly appreciated. Make sure you do that. Smash the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. 10K, we're coming. Make sure you help me out on the journey, guys. Do your thing, people. So yeah, we have been poor in defence. There's no denying it. There's no denying it. Yeah, the draws killed us. They absolutely did. Of course, we know that. We know at the end of the day, the first 10 games cost us the place in the top 4, given how things have transpired. The first 10 games cost us a place in the top 4. That's the reality. We had 3 wins in our first 10 Premier League games. If we'd beaten Forest at home, which we should have done, that would have been 3 more points. And then if we'd not lost at home to Brentford, for example, we would have finished in the top 4. We're talking about 3 wins in the first 10 games, which is so poor. So poor. That's the reality, guys. That is the reality. So poor. 3 wins in the first 10. And that has cost us our place in the Champions League, given how the season has transpired. Yes, big up, brother. I hope you're doing well. And to be fair, there's also that one as well. An extra 2 points. We were robbed in that Villa game as well. An extra 2 points. There's little things. At the end of the day, we weren't a million miles away from the top 4. But next season, as I said, the top 4 is an absolute must. And the set piece coach Bernardo Cueva, who's coming from Brentford, it's a huge summer for him. A huge summer for him, because he's got his work cut out, because we've been poor in both boxes for set pieces this season. Yeah, we absolutely could have done. The top 4 was actually very attainable when you look back on the season. Look, Taylor was shocking yesterday. Absolutely shocking. But that's what we expect, people. That's what we expect. Look, there's no doubt about it. We've conceded a club record amount of goals for a Premier League campaign. That's the reality of the situation. But this is not one of our worst group of defenders, not at all. But as a unit, we've defended poorly over the course of the season. But then could you also argue that football's got a lot more attacking as well? And there's a lot more goals in the game now than there was previously. You could possibly also argue that as well. But yeah, let's see what else is popping off, people. Let's see what else is popping off. Oh yeah, a deal that, Crystal Palace. Fuck me. Crystal Palace, they beat Villa 5-0 yesterday. That's a madness. What Glasner's done there, taking over from Hodgson, and the improvement that he's made is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think he'll play down the middle. He'll rotate with whatever striker comes in. I think he'll play. I think he'll play down the middle. But yeah, what a madness, eh? What a madness, people. Mate, Glasner's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere at all. We need to stop. We need to stop with this obsession, people. We need to stop with the obsession of just constantly looking at other people's managers. I really don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Let's see what else is going on, people. Let's see what else is going on Chelsea news-wise. Have we got any further stuff coming in? What else have we got popping off? I don't think there is too much else happening, people. But yeah, you just don't know what's coming. Yeah, but apparently Nuno's future, I was seeing, is not fully certain It's not fully certain that he's going to be at the club next season, at Forest next season. You know, I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. I can tell you that with Poch coaching, no trophy. Well, let's wait and see. Top player, I think he's going to make a massive difference to our team next season. He's just got to stay fit. He has to stay fit next season. That is the key. But I think he's a top player, a top player. No doubt about it. And I think he's going to make a massive difference to our midfield. Yeah, massive job. And you know what? I don't know how he's going to do. I think he's a good manager, but this is a massive gamble, by the way, as well, because Slot's never managed outside of Holland, and he's coming in and he's got to succeed Jurgen Klopp. We've seen it before. Being the first one to succeed a legacy manager, as it were, it never tends to go well. Moyes replacing Ferguson didn't go well. Emery replacing Wenger didn't go well. I'm not saying that Slot's not going to do well, but I think Liverpool are going to have to majorly adjust their expectations and be patient with Slot. They're going into a new era. It's going to be transitional for them next season. But history would dictate that whoever succeeds the kind of the legacy kind of managers first, the first guy through the door to replace one of them, is it generally doesn't seem to do that well. That's the reality. Guys, there's so much stuff coming. I'm just going to get to the bottom. Slaughter B-Tech Martin Yo. But yeah, look, there's a lot of unknowns, people. That's the reality. There's a lot of unknowns next season, and fourth place is absolutely there for the taking. Absolutely there for the taking. Simple as that. It's inexcusable not to finish in the top four next season. Inexcusable. If we don't finish top four, unless we have a ridiculous injury crisis, if we don't finish in the top four, then that is the reality of the situation. That is the reality of the situation. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Oh yeah, what I was going to bring up, guys, a deal that is already done, but we should get confirmation of it. Is Esteban Willian. Chelsea will sign Esteban Willian this week. The Blues accelerated negotiations yesterday after several weeks of negotiating a £55.5 million package with 38.4 million up front and 17.1 in add-ons. Slightly different to figures that were reported by The Athletic, that it was going to be 29.1 million up front. But I think whatever, the package is going to be £55.5 million. And that deal for Esteban, the 17-year-old South American talent, should be confirmed this week, people. Should be confirmed this week. And, Fabrizio saying that with Esteban, the plan is for him to come into the first team squad straight away. And the plan is exactly the same with Paez as well. Fabrizio saying that they will not go on loan and they will come straight into the Chelsea first team squad, which let's wait and see what happens there. But that's an exciting one. That deal should be wrapped up. Yeah, and this is why I always say age doesn't mean experience, but because it absolutely doesn't. Mudrik's 23, yet he's way less experienced than Hudson-Odoi, who's younger, than Bukayo Saka, who's a bit younger. That's the thing. The idea is good and should be in the game. The execution and the people operating it is absolutely shocking. Yeah, I mean, we could be cooking. We could be cooking. There's definitely a lot to be excited about on that front. Yeah, well, unless we can make him turn 18 faster, then unfortunately there's not. No, bro, he's not. He's going straight into the first team squad. Fabrizio said that he's going to go straight into the first team squad. Parasite's value Trevoh at 25 mil. How much we paid for Disasi and Badishil? Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Yeah, I think he's done. Think he's done really well. I think he's done really well, all things considered. Considering he come from MLS last summer, I think he's done really well. No, because they're not coming till 18. To be honest, I think Angelo will spend a few more seasons on loan, and I think Angelo will be one of those that gets sold for profit. In my view, I think he'll be one of those that is that's sold for profit. That's the reality. So Pochettino's going to build for a year, and then you tell the players start from fresh. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You know, I absolutely agree. You know, he can't be going anywhere. But yeah, Esteval Willian deal should be wrapped up this week. No, either join a club this week. But let's wait and see on that front, you know. But Esteval will be coming to. We're going to have some South American flair at Stamford Bridge in 2025 with Esteval and Kendry Paez coming. I don't know. I think Angelo is a bit better than Kennedy was, but yeah, let's wait and see. Yeah, I mean, look, Sesko's form at the back end of the season is definitely. You know, he's definitely attracting some more suitors for him. And yeah, let's see. I mean, to be honest, right now, I think I said it a week or so ago. If I had to say who I think Chelsea will end up signing as a striker, I do think it will be Sesko. But let's wait and see. Let's have a look what else we've got going on. All young players. Yeah. Do you think Cole Palmer will be as consistent as he was this? I hope so. I hope so. You know, as I said last night, you know, the big thing now is, can Cole back this season up? You know, can he back this season up? What are we gonna see from him? You know, I think that you've seen players that have good seasons and then they don't back it up the next season. Only the very best back it up. And for me, Palmer is up there with the very best. I think he's got the ability 100%. So, yeah, I think will he hit the same numbers? I don't think so, but I think he'll get numbers and he'll produce. But what he's going to have to do is, now teams are going to know what he's about, because he was a little bit of an unknown quantity before this season. People knew he was talented, but no one had seen him play on a regular basis. Now people know they're going to have plans for him. He's going to have to not change his game, but he's going to have to be more aware. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Palmer does next season. But I fully believe he's got all the quality to have a similar sort of impact. Yes, big up, mate. Hope you're good, bro. I hope you're good. Artem Dovbyk, again, possibly. What's happening with Santos? I think he is going. I think he's going to spend another season on loan. Is my thoughts? I think he'll spend another season on loan. Yeah, they do. Brazilians do speak Portuguese. Fala Portuguese. I think that means, do you speak Portuguese? But yeah, or understand Portuguese. But yeah, Brazil speak Portuguese, Spanish, whatever. Mudryk or Jackson on the wing. Look, Jackson will be back up forward. He'll still play a lot of games for sure. I hope so. But that's not for me to decide. But yeah, there are a lot. Some are obviously going to be flipped on for profit. So let's wait and see. I think he'll go to PSG, but I don't know. It remains to be seen. But despite the obvious links, I'm not sure that he's going to come to Chelsea. But let's wait and see. Vitor Roque is no, not for me. Not for me. No, Madueke not available to be sold. No, he'll still be here next season. Yeah, Roque only went to Barca in January, So yeah, but look, excited that we're exploiting the market. If you want to know more about Esteval Willian, I've done a video with a Chelsea fan that lives in Brazil, very knowledgeable about the Brazilian game, for all the lowdown on Esteval. So if you've not checked that out, guys, go to the channel, watch the video with Jess from Chelsea fan from Brazil for all the lowdown on Esteval, and if the hype should be believed, if you want more details on Esteval. I like Grealish, but again, you know, I don't see the need for more wide players unless someone's leaving. If someone's not leaving, then there's no point. Simple as that. Yeah, and check the match vlog out from yesterday as well. Make sure you also do that, guys. That is vitally important, people. Vitally important that you do that. But yeah. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Mate, these swap deals get talked about all the time, and yet they never happen in football. You know, they very rarely happen. It's not going to happen. At least for Sterling would be great. It would be. Yeah, it would be. But you could also argue that with Paez and whatnot, with Paez and not Angelo, sorry, with Paez and Esteval coming next in 2025, we don't need to buy any more wingers. I'd stick with what we've got unless you can sell Sterling. And then in 24, 25, you've got a few decisions to make. But I think with those guys coming in, with Esteval and Paez coming in, you're going to be in a situation where I think not this summer, but next summer, one of Mudryk or Madueke will leave with Paez and Esteval coming, because you're looking at a situation where I think with those two guys coming in, there's not room for everyone. And I think Mudryk and Madueke could well be playing for their Chelsea futures next season. That's my thoughts on it. Do I know how Mudryk is doing? I don't know him personally, no. But I think Mudryk's done well this season. I think he's done well. Any chance Lukaku coming back? No. For me, Solanke shouldn't be signed unless we bought another number 9 and use. No, I don't think Solanke's the answer. Not for me. No, again, contracts aren't really worth the paper they're written on in football, if we're being perfectly honest. But yeah, look, I think, I don't know. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see what happens. Gyökeres again, I think is a very exciting option, But look, let's just wait and see, guys. Let's just wait and see what happens. But yeah, the Esteval deal should be wrapped up this week, and that'll be the first deal of the summer done, dusted, and confirmed, which would be quite something, guys. Would be quite something, wouldn't it? But let's wait and see on that. I don't think there's too much else to go through. Yeah, well, I think everyone does, and I think the club do fully believe in him. But next season needs to be another big step up. Needs to be another big step up next season. No, Jackson's staying all day long. Jackson's been brilliant for us this season. But yeah, guys, I'm going to round this one out here. Big up to everyone that's tuned in. Big numbers tonight. Been a great stream. Thanks for you all getting involved. I really appreciate it. All the support doesn't go unnoticed, so big yourselves up. Guys, loads of stuff coming over the summer. I'll be back again tomorrow with more Chelsea news as it comes. So stay tuned tomorrow night for another stream, 5 p.m. UK time. 5 p.m. UK time live tomorrow to see what all the latest Chelsea news is. Guys, make sure you smash the like button on the way out. Get those likes up. Make sure you keep subscribing to the channel as well. If you're locked in now and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out. Love for all the support as always. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and I'll catch you all again tomorrow. Up the Chelsea and peace out, people. Oh, the stream